Absolutely,
I
we can.
I'm far.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. As you can see, there's a little bit of a green theme going on. And happy St. Patrick's Day in advance. When is that? On Monday? Is it Monday? I think. Yeah, Monday. We're missing Meredith today. So it's Kerry and I have taken over. Meredith is off this week. She had a surgical procedure done and she is recovering and doing fabulously. So we have a big group. Thank you all for joining us today. And a couple of little housekeeping things before we start. In Meredith's absence, I want to share, she talked about this at last town hall, but she has a new book out, Fantastic Marketing 3.0. And guess what? It sold out at the Builders Show. So you can get the Kindle edition online, and I think it's the hard.
Hey-o! There's the book.
There it is. Oh my gosh, you got one.
Good
Oh,
job.
I would have stolen that.
I know. Yeah, she didn't sign it though. I was hoping to get a signed one, but I didn't see her afterwards.
It will be available in paperback on March 31st.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. And I also just need to pay special attention to Kerry. We have amongst us the Sales and Marketing Professional of the Year, Kerry Mulcrone. Congratulations,
Yay.
Kerry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very deserving of the award at the Nationals this year. If you were there, it was pretty incredible.
It was,
So,
I will tell you, it was amazing, shocking. And if you're on this today and you are one of the people that sent me all of the amazing texts and emails, tender ones, I'm just like overwhelmed through all the years. There were blasts from my past that I went, whoa. And some that were saying, and we're still using it. And I thought, so 1986 is when I started, and someone's saying I'm still using your stuff. And I'm like, well, how's that working for you? Anyway, let's kick it off, Ange.
Yeah, awesome. So we are talking about the Builder Show today, talking about our favorite moments, our best moments, the programs that all of us did. And we've got lots of people here. So let's start with introductions. I'm going to go by who I see this way, which is Kevin.
I'm Kevin Weitzel Downhouse, but in honor of the Green Day, I'm going to be known as Seamus McBueno with the Southwest Flare Free.
McBueno.
All right.
Good one.
That's awesome. If you don't know Kevin, I don't know anyone who doesn't know Kevin.
And my highlight this year for the show was making officially the Novi Home shoe list.
Thanks,
Boom.
Kevin. Way to rub it in.
Sorry, Kerry.
We can talk a little bit about how you get on that list, Kody.
That's right.
For real.
Kody, what do you?
Awards don't count. Apparently, Sales and Marketing Professional of the Year didn't count. Okay, now you've got in your next box, Ange.
Let's go with Kody.
Yeah, I'm Kody Smith, president and one of the founders of Novi Home, and obviously going to take a lot of heat in the next hour. For those of you that don't know and maybe don't know what anyone's talking about, we do a customer/partner appreciation at the International Builders Show that logistically this year was extremely tough, but we try and grab sizes and hand out custom Novi Nikes to our partners.
So cool. It was so cool, Kody.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Tim.
Yeah, well, thanks. This is my first time participating in this Builder Town Hall. So I'm Tim Bailey from the Avid division of ECI Software Solutions.
Perfect.
So I've been with Avid Ratings like 16 years now. Been in this industry since I was 15. But we were acquired by ECI Software Solutions in October 31st of last year. And so now I'm director of operations with that group. And Yeah, I was joking. I said, like, we're being at the ECI booth this year. There was as many people at the ECI booth as what our company had. Like, so it was quite the transition. But it's just such an amazing show. It's probably my 16th or 17th time being at the Builder Show, and and I didn't get
We're
any.
glad you're here, Tim.
Well, I appreciate the invite, and I'm just want to be here to find out how to get the Novi shoes too, though.
Right? Yeah.
And Tim, you definitely got the memo to dress in green, so thank you.
Well, with the last name like Bailey, there might, I won't say there's any Irish cream in my coffee, but
Awesome. And Cori.
Hi everyone, I'm Cori Masters. I'm currently the customer success manager for Lasso CRM with ECI Solutions too. So Tim and I work together. It's great to get to know his whole team. They're all super nice. But yes, before that, I worked as an OSE for about 10 years, and I also don't have a pair of Novi shoes, so just add me to the list. 7.5, 8, depends on the day.
She even gives the size. Whoa.
Yeah. This is an expensive show for you, Cody.
I know, right? It's just piling up for Kody. He's gonna drop off. He's gonna just
Well, you'll never forget Novi Home for sure on this.
Mhm.
And now we've got Roland, Ange.
Hang on, top of the bottom to you. It's a cracker. Is that a good Irish accent there? I'm trying to do it. Over the rainbow. What can I say there? That's my best effort at an Irish accent. So yeah, I'm Rolando Nairnsey. I'm founder of New Home Sales Plus. I'm a sales coach and travel around training. So honored to be part of this panel. Thank you, and congratulations, Kerry. Just honored to be around and admire you from afar. And thank you, Kody, for the. I got the shoes last year, and the kids all think I'm on trend. They're like, "Oh, nice shoes." I've had more compliments on those sneakers than any other pair of shoes that I've owned, I think. So I missed out this year. They didn't, it didn't work out. But I'm looking forward to next year because you're going to keep me fashionable. Thank you. I think it was the best show ever. For those who didn't make it, I think it's getting better every year, which is a weird thing to say, but I think NHB really should be congratulated. The rooms were great, and it just felt comfortable, and probably the most diverse group of speakers. I listened to Cori. You were excellent on diversity, and then just listen to so many. I think the sales rally was amazing. Kimberly Mackey really, worked hard to create something different. And my favorite moment probably was John Palumbo. Spoiler alert: he came out and played the what was it, harmonica. And then ate the harmonica. It was fake the whole time, and it was cute. It was a cute moment. He's a funny guy. But yeah, I just thought it was excellent. I'm very proud to have programs and be part of this great educational panel. So there's that. Top of the morning. That's a cracker. That's it.
Awesome.
That's a cracker.
That's awesome.
For those of you who were at the show and had an education pass, in your inbox today, you would have received an email saying that all the recordings of all the shows are available. So that is up on the Builder Show site now. And now, if you were not if you didn't attend, you can still, I believe it's for purchase too. You can purchase a pass that you have unlimited access to all of the recordings, which I highly recommend. I think there's some really great content. So let's talk about the programs. And
I think that's a great idea to kick that off. And I think that to start it, to follow with Roland as we get going, the one thing that was obvious and apparent there was the sentiment of the industry, that we've been there talking about retaining and sustaining and all of that. It is what it is. And everybody was just there to learn, to be positive. You had no one there looking back or afraid of looking forward. They were just encouraged and excited. So we thought that with this, that today, so that no one feels slighted or cheated, that we would get these great people that had great programs and kind of get a highlight from their program. And what they'll share with you now is either something that you felt like you really wanted to say and didn't, or something that you said that super resonated and you heard about it afterwards. And then we can have all of our note takers on this help. So Ange, why don't you go around the room and you call on people?
Oh, sure. Kevin, let's start with you, because you're up at the top in my right
Yep.
here.
So this is where I'm talking about things that I didn't get to say, right?
Yeah,
Or that you
So-
love that you did.
yeah,
So,
or that you
well-
really nailed something.
So one is that both of I was in 2 sessions, one about diversity and selling to diverse groups, and the other one was about small builders and how they can adopt AI and adopt various technologies and vetting technologies. I was worried about the second one. There was not a lot of, I got to be honest, there was not a lot of prep that went into that one. However, it went over like gangbusters, and we actually were being shooed out of the room 30 full minutes after the session because we had so many questions from builders.
Why
So,
do you think that, Kevin? What was the key thing?
honestly, most of it was just thanking us for focusing on small builders, because the people that were in the room were basically just like, so many of these sessions, they don't even apply to us because
Mhm.
they're talking about these $1 million budgets that we don't have,
Right.
so it's more of a question of how can we get into this. So now I'm going to go into what I didn't get to say.
Okay.
Because I always talk about IBS-itis. It is very easy to go to that ginormous show and see that huge floor of all the different gadgets and gadgets and widgets and digital assets that are out there and be overwhelmed with, I want all of this stuff. It's a kid in a candy store method. However, my best advice, and this is what I failed to say in our session, was that no matter where you are in whether you're Chuck with a truck or your D.R. Hortons of the world, anywhere in between that spectrum, that it's very important to right size what you buy. If you're only selling 4 homes a year, nothing against, our friends over and partners over at ECI, but Mark Systems isn't for a 4 home a year builder, but there's builders out there that are like, oh, I've got to get an ERP because so-and-so has an ERP. Don't worry about what so-and-so has, worry about what you have. Find out what your pain points are and resource and find a solution that works for that.
Kevin, I think that that's really valuable. And I actually am glad that you brought that up because we heard it a couple times. Angela, you and Dave and I even mentioned it in our program because it's very expensive to start up, right, with new information. And it's also more expensive to switch if you started because it was wrong. So I think that getting uber excited is great, but make sure it is the right fit for the right size for you want. And I think that is a really good takeaway, whether you said it or you didn't, because we heard many people that were like, it's so overwhelming. We need something, but we don't know what. That was really good, Kevin. I don't know.
It goes back to really doing an audit, small or small, medium, or large. Everybody can benefit from an audit of your entire business,
Right.
of whatever aspect, because to your point, Kevin, it's not feasible for everyone to do everything, and you need to figure out where your pain point is, what is broken, because maybe things aren't broken. maybe
Right.
there's something else that needs to be focused on.
Can I jump in? I'm not sure of the rules here. I don't want to be like just.
Absolutely.
You know
Can I
what,
jump in?
Roland, you
I'm
can
being very
jump in
polite.
anytime.
I'm trying for me, but perfect. Yeah. Okay. Can I just piggyback what Kevin was saying was that for the builders out there, whatever you invest in terms of your technology, you have to make sure you get trained on how to use it. So for me as a sales coach, I go to so many builders where they have, a great platform like a Lasso or whatever. But if they haven't invested in or haven't got the help rather in uploading, it's like going to IKEA and trying to put those furniture together.
Right.
I can't do it. I just need help with it. And it's the same thing. You can have the world's best CRM, but if your manager doesn't know how to use it and there's not somebody there that can train people, I know a lot of times OSCs are great with the CRMs, so maybe they'll do the training. But whatever you invest in, I think Kody, you have a great team of people from the feedback I hear on who when you invest in Novi, you get the training on how to use it and maybe
Right.
personalize it to your needs. And it's such an important element, whether you're small or big. Just don't think that what you're investing is going to be the thing that will save you.
I
You need to
agree,
have training.
Roland. I
Yeah.
think that's a really good point, Roland. And Kody, you can maybe add to this one too, that know what you bought. Because I find often that they're looking for help from the library that might be in the program that they bought, that sometimes sales management and leadership buys and then sales has to use, and they don't exactly know what package or what they purchase. So make sure everybody, which goes back to in our program, when we talked about sales enablement, the looping, that everybody knows what's going on. Because there are companies that are out there that have these platforms, and I promise you, your sales, one of the reasons they're not using them, which people are saying they're not using it, is because they don't know what it is that they've got. That was a really good point.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And for me, training is about action. So, you know, the salespeople will go, yeah, I use it, but they just don't know how to your point, Kerry.
Right.
So don't be afraid to get there privately with them, turn on the computer, go through step by step until they go, oh, here's the muscle memory for how we use it. You know, just understand that that's not everyone's good with technology.
Perfect.
And so, yeah.
Good takeaway.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Tim, who do you have? Tim next, Ange, or who?
Sure. Yeah,
Sure,
let's go
me.
with Tim.
Okay, you, Tim.
That's me. Awesome. Thank you. I was fortunate. I got to be in a great session at IBS. Big panel. It was a super session. It was like Kevin Oakley and Paul Curtis and Jane Mara and Chip Bell and Abraza Holmes, Palish Holmes, myself, Sweden.
Oh, you had them.
It was quite the group on stage, and just the session was all about leveraging tech and touch for exceptional customer experience. And because I think there's this, I won't say it's a myth, but I mean, when you bring, especially with AI now, there's just so much banter about like it's this magic bullet for everything. And it's like all technology, it has an application. It's definitely, I think, can take a big lift off people. So we had some great discussions about some of the latest technology and how you can leverage it. But at the same time, where humans factor into all of this as well. So, the idea of, humans are great for when it comes to relationship building and emotional intelligence and, judgment and things like that, where, tech's got its own, we're talking tech is a force multiplier. Tech is amazing at efficiency and scale and accuracy, but humans, we're like a confidence multiplier. And that's where I wish the things we didn't get into, that I actually did a webinar this week for a client, and this idea of confidence, that kind of, we were talking backstage about that. And I think it's really interesting right now. University of Michigan just came out with their latest confidence data, like consumer sentiment data, and it's nosediving, of course, right now. It's back to its 2022 levels. So we didn't get a chance to really get into this idea of confidence, but I think to sell homes today, we have to instill confidence, especially when we're battling the headwinds of, lack of confidence by consumer. And we know consumers, if they're not confident, if there's uncertainty, they sit on their wallets, they don't make those moves. And so we got to lean in since then a little bit more on this, what builds confidence, how do you instill confidence with today's consumers? So that was just kind of an interesting sort of behind the screen, behind the curtain chat.
That's
into
really
a whole
great.
different webinar. Yeah, a whole different webinar
You
since
know
then.
what I love about that, Tim? And you just kind of alluded to it, and I did hear this in some of the hallways and things, is we always talk about building the confidence in our sales team, right? But our sales team building the confidence in our customers so that they feel confident to be able to. So confidence falls on both sides, right? That you need to do that. And the interesting part, and I might have been in your program when I was kind of in and out, but one of the things that I also realized you guys had a lot of AI conversation is, as I'm talking to people, the level of intellect, not just intelligence, intellect that you can gather from AI. Everybody says, I don't have time for a podcast, a webinar, read a book, but you can get really smart on AI, right? Just for your own confidence. So I love that you had a takeaway on confidence to salesperson and customer.
Yeah.
Cori.
It's funny because that was what I didn't get to say on stage too. Because, I had a talk for those that weren't there. We had a talk with Terrell Turner. He was a OSC award winner last year. Amazing. He's my coworker now, so I'm super excited I get to work with him every day too. We had Beth Bird from Inugo, who I worked with too in the past, Anna Howell from Homes by Dickerson too, and then we have Laura Hansen from New Home Traditions. Or is that's
New Tradition Homes.
New Tradition Homes. Yes, I always mess up their name. But our talk was about how national award winners leverage technology to be different and win their awards. And something I didn't get to say was how I know there's a lot of fear, especially in the OSC world, because we're behind the scenes, we're not there looking at people face to face of technology's coming, it's going to take our jobs away. We're seeing it in other industries, right? Like, especially when you go buy a car, you don't even get to chat with a real person. It's a AI bot, right? But I go back to the brands and things that I love, and then I look and see handcraft things are always going to be better, and they're going to be more valuable. So if you become a master craftsman at what you do, whether that is being an OSC, whether that is being a sales trainer, a salesperson, you're not going to be replaced, because your personality, your confidence will shine through and differentiate yourself from an AI bot. So just become a master craftsman at what you do, and don't be scared. So,
you know, and we've always said, right, Cori? I remember working with you when you very first started in all of this, is hone your craft.
yes.
You know, and AI is it's a part of honing your craft. It isn't your craft. That's the difference. So that is really good, because I'm really glad that someone said AI isn't taking anybody's job. What it really is going to do is make some people's jobs elevated, right, Kevin? So take it from not taking your job to it can make your job.
Yeah.
Cody, what do you have?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say one thing, like, especially something we talked about was, if you're an OSC that's not there all the time, use AI to your advantage. I used it when I was a OSC for Beacon Homes in Oklahoma. I was in Idaho. I was not there locally. So it was just a quick thing. Like, I have a customer going to Oklahoma this weekend. What should they do? What's the weather going to be like? And I just used it as basically an assistant, which is what it should be, right? And then I asked it, I always ask for sources, which I think when I first used it, I didn't even think about it. And now I do. So just ask for sources and don't be scared.
Yeah, and don't be scared. Cody, what you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I will piggyback off what you guys were just barely talking about with a personal story. Haley Nabig and I were, mostly Haley, but we were both working on a presentation that we have to deliver next week, a sales presentation. And
FYI, I love Haley. I just have to throw that in.
We all love Haley. She is awesome. And essentially this is like a old school RFP in a sense, which I grew up doing RFPs in a different life that would take maybe 30 to 40 hours to put it all together. And with Chat GPT, I mean, it's amazing, and it saved us 35 hours. So anyways, using technology right. With my panel, we were in South Central, and I actually had the funnest session. I had Nicole with Hartford Homes, Kevin Jewell with French Brothers, president over at French Brothers Homes.
Boy, and have they made it.
Yes.
I'll tell you, they were, Cody, before I will tell you with French Brothers, is we all look for people and companies to emulate, and we should, out of respect, right? I worked with French Brothers a long time ago, for quite a while, and those two brothers and now nephews, sons, everybody, they truly pride themselves in best practices.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. And then we had, I don't know if you know Ty Brooks with Candlelight Homes out of Utah, and they have this, like, if you're on, Google it, Firefly community in northern Utah, which is a community that essentially their whole sales pitch, not their whole sales pitch, but they're building their community around getting kids and youth off of phones and outside.
Oh, wow.
So I had this power panel. All I had to do was just kind of moderate a little bit. And we based our panel around the book Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara.
Best book ever.
Best book ever if you're selling anything or working in the service industry. It is the best book ever. And it was so cool. Essentially, our panelists just shared things they have done. They have all read the book. Ty Brooks and his team, they truly, out of everybody I've ever seen, they live that book and implement it in what they do day to day. But some of the cool stories that we weren't able to share that I wish we could have dove into is Candlelight Homes. They have a person on their sales team, and anybody can do it, but they have a specific person that is looking for tidbits of information about every home buyer. So if they have a 13-year-old son that likes to skateboard, for example, recently their story that Ty shared is that is the exact scenario. They identified that one of their home buyers, they had a 13-year-old son that liked to skateboard. So at one of the walkthroughs, I think at framing, they presented the son with a skateboard, right? Skateboards are like $120.
Yeah, right.
Like in the scheme of things, that's not a huge cost, but what they delivered from customer satisfaction, their ratings, their reviews, the opportunity to get referrals from that family, like off the charts.
So Kody, for a second, I want you to elaborate a little because I heard this a lot, and I think it's really important for our listeners today that we've always talked so much about return on investment, like, right, Roland, how much does training cost? Well, it's how much if you don't have it, it costs, right? But I will tell you that a lot of people talked about those small little things. In Sales Central, Haley was on it. The gal that was with Haley, and I can't remember her name.
Katie.
Katie from Burke's Homes. She talks about it. They have done exactly the same thing and focus.
that skateboard, that, and Katie talked about with Haley that person, like it's a role. And I think it would be a really good takeaway from this today, and you chime in with me on this. If everybody wrapped their arms around that as an individual role to find those things out and do those things, the return on investment is just frightening because it's not the return on the money. It's a return on how people feel and talk about your company.
Goodwill, yeah.
So keep going, Kody, because that was a good one.
No, absolutely. So that role, and I just put it in the chat, is called a dream weaver. And that's what Will and his team called it in the book.
Yeah.
And Katie, so another thing they talk about, and it's something that we implement at Novi. So a lot of people I've heard everyone talking about the Novi Nikes and the custom Novi Nikes. So Will goes by a 95-5 rule. So 95% of the time you stick to the budget, you're don't go outside the lines, and then 5% of the time you splurge. Novi Nikes for us is a 5% of the time. Right. We run a very tight ship. We don't have excess employees. We're very lean. But then there's a couple times a year at various events where we will splurge and do something. And in the book, you want it to splash. Like you want it to hit. For like Ty, it's the skateboard. For Kevin Jewell and French Brothers, they do a thing where at Christmas time they participate in a toy drive, and they're in New Mexico, and rural New Mexico. So they go on with their side-by-sides or their UTVs, and they do this big toy drive for the community, which again, you're giving back to the community for your employees. It's driving, like you feel so good inside because you're giving of yourself and you're helping those around you.
Right.
And I can't help it because I am, an owner in Novi, but you're also marketing your brand of a brand that people want to be around, that people want to be a part of, that, hey, I'm going to purchase a home. And I saw those French brother guys delivering the toys at Christmas and driving around in their side-by-sides and picking toys like that. And that works for French brothers because they're not a national and they are in rural New Mexico. So they are relying on that.
Right?
Alamogordo.
Go
Yep.
Alamogordo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there too. I think that Kerry, I remember years ago, there was small companies, so amazing what they've accomplished in terms of growth.
Isn't it? Oh,
With the younger
and
generation, the kids taken over, I think,
the kids have taken it
catapulted
over.
it. Yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
now the owners are doing a little special thing on the side that they're loving too, but they started it, I will tell everybody, with customer care was at the top, like Roland. Remember back in the day, Carol Smith and writing about customer, all of that. I mean, on steroids. I remember when I was there and they wanted to get the Guild Quality Award. And this part of this story isn't just about French Brothers. It's about people in this program being able to see and hear what others do. So you can think, we could do that too. We could do that too. I think that's great, Kody. Roland, I'm sure you've been sitting down there chomping on the bit.
How did you know? How could you tell? Yeah, I was.
Oh, because I know you, and here we go. And
Yeah.
so get ready,
Look,
everybody. Roland Nairnsey.
Well, thank you, Meredith. A page of notes. So in order to make this a conversation about what was just said, I love that Kody was talking about unreasonable hospitality, that 95.5% rule, which I think was spoons for ice cream that the fellow wanted to create, and they were very expensive, but couldn't justify it with his accountant, but it made a splash. They were like art pieces. And I'm trying to think, and I totally understand that. I love the justification. Maybe in our world, maybe it's floor plans or something that builders will have a beautiful home and then have like these floor plans that are black and white and don't look great, as opposed to investing with any one of the great companies like anybody here, where you have beautiful color brochures or digital brochures that really stand out. And maybe you can't justify it from a profit point of view. ROI doesn't make sense, but the splash that you make by doing something memorable like that is extraordinary. I live in Miami, and so some of the condominium builders down here will have brochures that cost a fortune, but you remember it. It stands out from the crowd. So I think that's a great point, that 95.5% rule. Somebody mentioned building confidence earlier, which I think that's great. We should definitely piggyback that. I didn't get to go deep on that in my program, but if anybody that has a sales team, you've got to remind the salespeople, why now? So the confidence of why now, it might seem scary, what's going on externally, but it's always scary. With the exception of when rates were low, but when rates were low, it was craziness out there and there was chaos. And so I just did this morning with the team. Is like, let's build urgency for why now is a great time to invest, and so pivoting into it and building confidence that that it is rates are higher, therefore prices are good, quality is up. This sounds really weird, and I don't this go in many directions, but I did some training earlier this week with a team in Canada that actually used the tariffs to get sales now because of the fear of what was around the corner. They used it. A very weird thing to say. I hadn't really seen that coming, but this one salesperson was terrific, selling homes around $1 million each. He actually got 3 agreements because he said, better do it now. Let's secure it right now. We'll lock in the price for you, which was good. No price escalation clauses, but whatever the time is, you've got to build confidence for why now is something.
And to add on to Roland's why now, which was also, there was flavor. And then Ange, I want you to talk about something from our program, looking at Rachel's question, is why you? Why now is
well, right.
But
yeah.
then,
why am I builder? Why me? But also why now?
Yeah. So we got a question.
Can I? Okay. Can I just? Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Do you have something?
I just wanted to talk about my program for 1 second, if I could, which was because I was very proud of these of 3 managers that I had up there, Naomi, Brittany, and Cassie from 3 different builders, and we were talking about collaboration within the company, and it was such an important thing to talk about. And so the one thing that if you weren't there, you wouldn't have heard us talk about is that everybody in your company should be considered part of the sales team. And so all 3 of those companies will invest in training with the superintendents, of course, Design Studio. I mean, Jane has a program and does a great job, but that might have been thought of. But anybody that deals with a customer care, that kind of stuff, do personality training, work on listening skills, adjusting and adapting. And so that was a big thing that I think was a takeaway for the audience is that we normally invest only in training, unquote, the frontline salespeople. Well, hey, everyone's in the sales team. If they talk to a customer, they're part of the sales team.
Good. That's a really good point, Roland.
I will zip it now.
Oh, you're just fine. Everybody jump in. So Rachel was talking about, and this was actually kind of our program, Ange, that a little bit of it in sales enablement was that it's not just leadership's responsibility. You know, what are the things that other departments, other people, so as an individual, what do you think you can do to give to someone on any given day that is that individual experience? So I'm going to go really quick on a story, and then I want Angela to talk, and Kevin's got something. Way back in the day, when I was selling, I sold a home to a mother who had a child that was in a wheelchair 24/7. She never got out of it. She laid on her bed most every day. She got into the chair just to sit for a little while. And as a salesperson, I got to know her. Her name was Katie. And at the end of all this, I'd gotten to know her, and I thought, you know, what can I do? Because no closing gift was going to be worthy of what this child should get. So I found an artist, and I painted the ceiling of her bedroom like Disney World, all of the different places at Disneyland, all the princesses, all of that. So when she laid on this bed, until the day that she left this world, she used to pretend what park she was going to that day because I had her ceiling painted. That cost me $150 to paint that child's ceiling. So this is not about big bucks, right, Kody, shoes. This is about what can you do individually. So Angela, talk a little bit about that.
Well, and Kerry, how great did you feel when you did that? So it goes both ways.
It was like, I still remember that little girl laying in her bed saying, today I'm going to go to the castle.
Oh.
I mean, so how fun is that to be able to do those types of things and have those moments? Because not only are you, you know, kind of making a difference, but you're getting that gratification because we all like it, right? We appreciate, we like that gratification. But Rachel's question was really about, I think, if I understand it correctly, was just understanding how can someone who isn't up here make a difference down here, right? Like that.
Kevin wants to go.
I know.
I got you on this. And here's where I come from. I come from the south side of the tracks. I am from a single mother household, dirt poor, had to work from 10 years old and up. You have to treat every single role that you have in this world as if you're the owner of the company. You have to take ownership of problems when you see them and be the solution or be part of the solution, not be the person that just complains about everything and just, oh, woe is me, I can't change anything. Because guess what? You can. Yeah. So for you marketing managers that are out there, if you're working for a company and you have a cell or a flip phone budget in a smartphone world, that's fine. Figure out a way to work with it, because in certain markets that works. But don't be tethered to a wall with a rotary phone. Yeah. Shame on your owners if they're not giving you the budget to empower you to be excellent. However, shame on you if you don't take what they give you and implement it to your best advantage. It doesn't cost anything to use ChatGPT. There's a free version that any monkey can use. Trust me, I know how to use it, and I'm a straight up sales monkey. But yeah, it comes down to ownership. Don't be tethered to that wall with a rotary phone. If all you have is a flip phone budget, work that flip phone budget like you own that puppy and it's the last phone you're ever going to own.
I love that, Kevin. I agree. Yeah. Empower yourself is what that means. So absolutely. We've kind of gotten something from everybody. Kody, jump in. That's what we'll do now.
Kody had a great suggestion as well, I think.
And what I want to do, because I have been in that spot, the shoes, the Novi shoes, if everybody thinks that just flew over like the first time I presented it, you're completely wrong. Like that was a extreme sales pitch by me. When you make the difference. So Rachel, when you make the difference, when you find your opportunity to be unreasonable and go out of the way, and you have the story, tell the story to ownership and upper level management, make them understand, like, hey, this made a difference, and they will start to buy in.
Right.
Because if Kevin's right, you got to make do with what you have, but then when you have your success, don't hold that in. You got to now go in and be a little bit of a salesperson, because that's going to allow you to take the next step and to grow that.
Which takes us, Kody, to another big topic that was at the show, the difference between your brand and messaging your brand. How you get it out there, how people talk, how they feel. Anybody want to jump in on what's your personal message? You know, what's your legacy? What do you want to be left behind? That award that, again, I'm so humbly shocked that I got, is that I started a few years ago talking about leading a legacy life, that it was really important to me that people that I had worked with over all of these years felt like had given an impact, right? That was my word. I had that word from forever ago.
Aww.
So many of my texts said, what an impact. And I'm like, how did that happen? That's what I wanted and that's what I got. And so let's talk to you guys in the show and about messaging.
I had something. So, and it was like the second thought I had from my talk, and it goes hand in hand with this, because I don't deal with VPs or people in that, like how the rest of you do. I deal with the OSCs or the salespeople, and I feel like most of the time we expect our managers to come to us and say, do you want me to apply for this award for you? And that's where I think we're wrong. We have to advocate for ourselves. If we want that, we have to come to it from a place not of ego, of like, I want this for myself, a place of, I want to be better and I want my company to get this, and I want to prove to my people why, like as an OSC, why should your sales team listen to you? Because you're an award winner OSC and you know what you're doing, right? So take care of your appointments. So if you come from that place and you advocate for yourself, hopefully your leadership will listen to you. Sometimes they don't, and that's their problem, but be there to advocate for yourself, and hopefully one day they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Can I
have
jump?
on messaging? Oh, Roland, go.
Yeah. On messaging, I think that you know, we're talking hopefully out there. There's a lot of salespeople or sales managers out there, and it's that consistency of who we are and being able to explain that. So, but part of what I've always taught, and people have thought it was maybe ridiculous or not appropriate, is our builder story and who we are, and it's amazing how bad we are at that as an industry. That if you go around the country and say a salesperson, tell me your builder story, oh, that's sort of boring and dull, and why would I? Well, you have to know that you got a longer version perhaps, but you've also got your what we call like a matchbox version. You know, just explain to me, and if you can write on the back of a matchbox, you know, just quite simply, who are you? What's different about you as a builder? How are you going to benefit me? And then it's staying on message, right? We have to understand who we are and then stay on brand, and that really, it's up to the frontline salespeople to do that and communicate that, and make sure they have an impact. The story you told, Kerry, you had that beautiful mural drawn on the ceiling. That was you as either a salesperson or a sales manager. You decided to be kind to somebody and be caring. We talk about, you know, the ABCs of always being caring, but we mean it. But it's not something institutional that comes from up here. It's me as a salesperson caring about the experience, right? So, I think most salespeople like me, I've been a salesperson my whole life, we genuinely care about providing service and improving and enriching the lives and the experience of the people we're dealing with. It could be something small, you know, as having good snacks perhaps and recognizing somebody's hungry, or just caring enough to take care of them on any kind of level. But it doesn't stem from corporate. It stems from frontline sales, caring about the experience and doing the right thing and staying on brand and staying on message, and being brave enough to.
What Roland's talking about, which I think if we brought this, is that it's not reimbursable investments that you want to be focused on. It's about the investments that you can make that could just be a note that is the cost of a stamp. So don't worry about what you need to be reimbursed to do. Worry less about, like what Roland said, just care.
Well, timing. Yeah, I mean, time is the most valuable commodity. In that book about hospitality, there was an example, I think, where a couple didn't want to stay for dessert because had somebody at home or something to
Yeah.
take care of, or
Yeah.
they had to go pay the meter. I forget what it was. So the waiter went out and either fed the meter or took the thing home. I forget. There were a couple of
Yeah.
examples, but it's about timing. And so as a salesperson, understanding that maybe your buyer doesn't have time to do everything you want, so we'll go meet you. We'll go fill in the paperwork. We'll get it started for you. We'll find a way to make this easy for you. We're here about serving your needs, not having this sort
Yeah.
of this dogma that we have to follow, but how can
Yes.
we be flexible? Yeah, and make it about the person and wrap it around them.
It's being
Agreed.
interested and aware.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, that it's so important to really focus on
Right.
who you're talking with and what their needs
Yeah.
are.
And it's what they don't say sometimes. It's when you're showing a home, it's how they react to the view, the finishes, the space in the home that would be ideal they've always dreamt about. But that's where AI just can't compete with us
Yeah.
humans. And as flawed as we are, we're about empathy and reacting to
Yeah.
things and then doing more of that, you know. So maybe they could care less about this part of the builder story, but hey, it's a one-stop shop. You get to personalize and have fun. That's what we want. Tell us more about that. And that's all EQ that you get from, you know,
Yes, I
caring
agree.
enough to pay
I've always
attention.
told my kids, I love the curious idea, because I've always told it to my kids, like, just stay curious your entire life. Like, if
Yeah.
you want anything, just be curious, stay curious. And I think interacting with
Right.
customers, I mean, they feel that. It's like, oh, curiosity just brings more out of the
Yeah.
conversation, deepens the
Yes,
relationship.
Tim,
And
that is an excellent point, and allude to that, because I think at the show, that was another point, that like, how do we learn to ask these great questions? How do we turn a question into a conversation?
yes,
Right.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
be curious to want to know more. When you
Right.
want to know more, you will become more. I promise.
Yeah, on the AI program I did, I actually tested AI or my chat GBT with a typical objection that I get, and it gave me really good answers. But what it never did was ask me a question of why I have that concern. Like, what are your concerns about blank? And I hope it stays that way, because it gives us humans an advantage. But
Here's a great story from the Builder Show for people. Chris Hartley, did anybody get to that program at all? And he told the story, and I think that this is valuable for us, especially those of us that sit in model homes, is that he needed to go find a new home because of a divorce. And the divorce was really painful for him, and it was really painful for his girls. And what made him sad was that whenever he went to look, because he was leaving what he thought would be the forever home, when he went around looking for a home, everyone acted like it's going to be so great to build a new home. You can do all this, you can do all that. His point was, it's not great. I'm doing this so I have a home for right now. It's not going to be the home. And I want to make sure, and he never got asked the why part of that part of it. And he got very emotional. It was very cool, but it made everybody in that audience realize, and I hope we can take that today from Chris, is the fact that it's not always the most exciting thing they're about to embark upon when they're looking to buy or build a new home. It is not always the most exciting thing they've ever done. So be curious, right, Tim, to find out why they're there. And maybe it's painful. Kody, what do you think? You've got I can see little rats running around up there.
No, I think this is awesome. Listen, there's a reason we put this together and submitted it as a panel, because it's a topic that is easy to talk about. It's easy to A/B test. It's easy. It's not always easy to make it happen, but it's easy to put a focus on it, right? So I mean, this is part of who Novi Home is. You talked about brand and what you want to create. This is part of the culture that we are constantly working to create. I don't think I don't think we'll ever be in a place where we're like, hey, we've created this. I think we're constantly going to be striving to pay attention,
Right.
to watch what's going on. And listen, I love it. I have a passion
You
for it,
test your
obviously.
culture. Do other people say about you what you think your culture is? you know, what your brand is. You know, everyone has a reputation. The real question is it the reputation you want to have? So the testing of it, and that was in so many programs. And what Ange just said, which talk about that, Ange, because you do a really good job about that, about just doing the right thing.
Oh.
It's not rocket science, right?
No, you know, it's not. I think really it's about sitting back and really looking at where you're at and what needs to be done. And you know, I'm going to put Kevin on the spot because you know what, he is one of the kindest, most thoughtful people in this industry, and the reason is pretty simple. He writes handwritten notes.
Yep.
And he puts them in the mail, and you're surprised and delighted by them.
Yes.
And you know that it's effort on your part, Kevin, and it is but it, you know, it's your time and the stamp.
Don't ruin my obnoxious persona.
I know. But Kevin, you live in the
Yeah,
moment.
Yeah, I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, you didn't know.
What you want. Kevin, you do what's right.
Maybe I'm the only one.
moment.
Maybe I'm the only one. I'm special.
No, you are special.
But that's what it's about, right? Is making people feel like they're your favorite. You know, they're your favorite. And I have spoken about my mother in the past, and you know, she passed away several years ago, but she made everybody, all 6 of her kids, we all thought we were her favorite. All 19 of her grandchildren thought they were each her favorite.
Love that.
Her 21 great grandchildren
Wow.
all thought they were her
Isn't that-
favorite. Like, and I am not, you know, it is legitimate. We all kind of went, no, are you kidding me? She made us all, she was interested.
Yes.
She connected with us always. I mean, you know, her kids were all long grown up, and she took the time to talk on the phone. She was, you know, it was the only reason why we had a landline for the longest time, because that was always her that called, right? But I've learned so much from that generation and from her in just how she approached relationships, and how she kept a recipe card for everybody so that she wouldn't forget when they had birthdays, it was her own CRM. It was her CRM in a recipe box with cards that just outlined all of the details so that she could kind of impress you really with, you know, like, oh, how is so-and-so, right? How do you remember that? Well, she had a little cheat sheet. She had you know, it was, but we all need, you know, we have to learn from that, and we have to take action with that. And it's in this world, what sets you apart? And those are the types of things that you can do to make an impact and build,
you know,
those relationships.
Angela, I think so amazing. That story is so amazing. And to Kevin, to all of us as we're talking about this, is being in the moment. It's doing the right thing when the right thing is warranted, when it's needed most. Like, you could, the minute someone needs the note, they really needed it, and then all of a sudden the note comes. When someone needs the text, then all of a sudden it comes. So I think it's the timeliness of doing the right thing is when it just really hits you. And I know that to be true about Kevin. And I always say to people, what do people say about you when the model door closes and the car door closes? Did they say, wow, I really liked them? What did they say? And Kevin Weitzel, I'll say to you, because you got to spend some time with her, Megan, my daughter, who is always with me, when we were on the flight home, she said, you know, Mom, I really like Kevin. Do you like him? And she was really like, what she was doing was she was admiring your quirkiness. But she said, I really like Kevin. Do you like Kevin? How many of us work towards there she is. She's on this right now. I do like you, Kevin. There we go.
I'm going to give everybody a lesson. If you ever want to make somebody feel special, when you go to your next party, that big gathering, whether it be work or friends or college buddies, whatever it is, find the one person that isn't talking to anybody. Find the one person that is socially awkward and just give them a big old, maybe not even a physical hug, but a hug of welcomeness, and just make them feel like they are the smoothest, newest gadget on the wall. And the reason why you do that is because they don't get that treatment on an everyday basis. Sometimes they never get it their entire life. Be that person that
So you
seeks
guys,
them out.
I hate to say this, and Angela does. This is what happens when we get the show, is that all of a sudden it's done. But if you could each give your 30-second Super Bowl statement from the Builder Show in rapid fire, what would it be? And you do the roll call.
Oh, Kevin, because he's there.
Yeah, because he's there.
All right, so
Kevin.
me, I'm going to go with know your lane, but know how to make your own tapestry. You're not limited by the budget that your boss gives you. You're only limited by your ability to excel and be great.
Good one.
Tim.
I didn't allude to this yet, but I think the idea of value, we see in our data that value is struggling a lot right now. This idea of perception of value. I think anywhere where we can focus on staying as in sales in every area, value unique. I'm kind of tired of value add. Value add just adds complexity. It's enhancements. It's always adding decision complexity. I like the idea.
Unique.
Value unique creates decision certainty. Value add creates decision
Because
complexity.
then you can sneak up on them.
Right.
Awesome. Cori.
I would say definitely ask to be a part of the Builder Show. If you haven't been and you keep wanting to go, ask your leadership. Sometimes they think people don't care to go to these things, but I think if you have a chance to go, you have the ability to listen to the brightest people in our industry. So definitely ask to go. And if it's not possible this year, try next year. And next year and next year, keep trying until they allow you to go, because it's definitely worth it. It opens up your mind to learn from so many different people, and not just on stage, but the people you talk to in the halls. I think sometimes those are the
Cori,
best conversations.
if you knew in the 38 Builder shows that I've gone to, how many I paid for myself, the gift that I got was the time out of the model, but I paid myself many of those years. And
Good for you. Amazing.
Kody.
Takeaways, things, thoughts. For me, from the IBS or the Builder Show was drown out the noise, like political noise, all the other stuff that's out there, and just hyper focus. It was so cool to see some of the people on the panels. Tim, I loved your guys' panel. I love listening to Brian with Abrazo talk and what he is doing, and it just drown out the craziness of social media and the different things. And then the other takeaway from me is understand the circles that I'm putting, the circles of people that I'm putting myself into. I want to bring value I want to be in circles where people are better than me, and that by their example, they're causing me to want to be better.
Kody, that was awesome. Let's put Tim's program in the chat box as people are going to go on and get programs. And now it's you, Roland.
I would just say we over me. I think that we tend to forget that you're part of a great company and you can leverage that, part of a great industry, which we're proving today with all these experts and wisdom. But sometimes salespeople try to take too much on their shoulders, or sales managers, and leverage the fact that your buyers have been on your website. They want the home, they want the community. Just don't feel like you got to fix everything for them. Just leverage the power of we over the individual.
That's a great one. You know, you guys, AI is not going to replace any of you. No chatbot. The only thing that's going to replace you would be you not believing and being confident, right? That don't become a dinosaur, just become someone who's curious, Tim, cares, Kody, is personal, Kevin, is on their game, Roland, understanding what the customer wants, Cori, who loves to be on the journey with people from start to finish. That's what I share as we end. And how do you want to close this today?
I just shared the Tech and Touch session. It took me a while to find it. If anyone has been on the Builder Show site and tried to search for an education session, it's hard. That is feedback I will give them.
All right. Thank you so much for having us, for inviting us. It was an honor.
Thank you, everyone. That was
Thank you.
fantastic. And thank you to all of our attendees for staying on, and our panelists. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day and an even better weekend.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
We
Bye.
appreciate you.
Likewise.